Alright, everything's loaded. We're going to go ahead and find our test cave. There it is. And before we double click this, as I mentioned, I'm going to be changing the names of things. The name of the Dwemer dungeon that I'm going to be making is going to be called like Javak. I wanted something, sounded kind of Dwemery. It's also spelled a little weird. It starts with like a D and a J. So I'm going to hit F2. And the name of the mod, since I'm going to be making more than one dungeon and kind of compiling them into a single mod for people to use, I'm going to call this like a Dungeons Pack. We'll just go ahead and use my Nexus handle, Drachus Dungeons Pack. So everything involving this mod is going to be prefaced by a DNP underscore. And the reason I'm doing that, or DDP underscore, and the reason I'm doing that is to help me find things later on that just kind of belong to that mod. So I'm going to type DDP underscore, and then we're going to call this the Javak Cave. So it's going to spell it like that, DJIVAK, and then cave. I'm going to hit enter. Okay. Now, to find it again, we're just going to type that out, except I do need to type quickly again. So DDP, there we go, Javak Cave. Then we're going to load that. Texture should have been converted offline. I have no idea what that means. I'm just going to hit yes to all. Yeah, the environment masks. I have no idea what that means. Oh well. So basically everything I'm doing, I'm getting new error messages and I don't know what they mean, so I'm going to Google them later. But a couple things. It's darker in here. Let me turn on the lights. Second, we are now zoomed in on the COC marker instead of some random location. So when you have a COC marker in your cell and you load that cell, the camera is automatically going to be zoomed in onto the COC marker. So let's go ahead, zoom out a little bit. And the dungeon looks very, very, very different. So I spent some time kind of sprucing up the place to make it a little bit different. I went ahead and added the stuff I talked about in the last video, kind of adding more room for the cave, as well as the beginnings of the Dwemer dungeon. Really, there's nothing new about what I'm doing. I was just exploring various assets in the static objects and just playing around with them. So I didn't really feel any need to have that on camera. You will notice from the outside that this just kinda looks like a giant mess, more or less. It's very difficult to tell kinda what's going on because I threw a bunch of pillows everywhere to help map stuff out. Like I have this one giant pillar here. The whole purpose of this one is to it was to help break up the monotony of the ceiling. So now there's like a bit of a dip in the ceiling. What's most important when you're doing this is how it looks on the inside, because that's what the player is going to be seeing. Although it certainly does help to maybe make a little bit less of a mess, so that way when you're going back in the editor to change things, you can navigate a little bit more easily. But let's go ahead and zoom in on this campfire here. You notice I got a dead body here. This is going to be our dead dude that we go to pick up, like the piece of paper that like gives us the quest. Maybe he'll also have a key or something. But how did I get him lying down like this? Well, let me go ahead and delete him. If I can select him. Whoops. What did I do? Okay. Trying to select shit. Okay. Where is he? He's called like DDP. Yeah, DDP Adventure. Hang on. Let me Okay. DDP Adventure. Yeah, I forgot to put the underscore on his name. Let me change that. When you're renaming an object, it'll ask if you're wanting to create a new object or just rename the current one. So it's asking me, do I want to create a new object? I want to hit no. Are you sure? Yes. Boom. Okay, he's renamed. So now we go to DDP. There we go, Adventure. I can double click that. It's going to select him for me. And now I can move him around, except I'm bound to the grid. So I'm going to hit Q and Control Q. There we go. Alright. So how did I get him like this? Well, let me just go ahead and delete him. And we're going to drag in another one. Boom. Alright. So when you drag in a character, they're going to be in like a T-pose initially to start. You can play around with this by activating Havoc, but first what we need to do is we need to double click on him, and there's a little option right here that starts dead. So we're going to check that, hit OK. So when the map starts, he's going to be dead. Except he might be in a kind of weird position, because when the cell is loaded, he is initially going to load in this T-pose, and then he's killed, and then he just kind of falls down while still standing on his feet. I can actually demonstrate this now by activating Havoc. So that's exactly what's going to happen in game when I load this. I can play around with his dead body, haha, by moving him around while Havoc is still enabled. So we're just going to kind of move him. Oh, okay, he's going crazy. He's kind of dancing around. Kinda, sorta, maybe. Let's twist him around a little bit. Okay, that doesn't look so bad. I'm gonna go ahead and turn Havoc off now. So when we load inside the cave, his body should be in this position. Also, I had a little rock here. I don't know. I have to get in pretty close to try and select it, I think. Whoop. There we go. Yeah. I'm going to have his head kind of resting on this rock. It's his pillow rock. Oops. The whole purpose of this rock is actually to kind of keep the model stable. So when Havoc settles, I don't want his head like causing the body to kind of flip out around unless his head already has something that it's in contact with, so the body should stay stable. I believe I can also select don't Havoc settle. Yeah, so when the object loads, it'll have Havoc physics, but when the cell initially loads, it's not going to move around and stuff. It's going to stay where it is in the editor until some force acts upon it in-game, i.e. the player tries to move the body around or something like that, or you use Fuzroda or something. Okay, so he should be good to go. There we go. I was trying to zoom out, I couldn't. The second thing, this little campfire here. I did not demonstrate how to make lights, I realize now, in the last video. But that's okay. Let's go ahead and toggle light back on. And you notice this is the in-game lighting. The dungeon is much darker than last time. Basically, to make the dungeon darker, I just went to edit it, went into lighting, and I just played around with these templates here. I am using the blind cliff template. It was just one that looked kind of dark and I liked it. So it's not totally dark, it's just kind of really dark. But I got a campfire light here. And this is actually a shadow casting light. And what that means is as I move this around, it's going to cast shadows in different directions. I'll do that. So something important to note about shadow cast lights in Skyrim is that I believe the Skyrim engine will only render like 6 of these at once. So you want to use shadow lights sparingly. And if you have a lot of them, it can eat up a lot of resources. So typically when somebody mods like a house or something like that, and you have like a huge FPS drop when you're going into that cell, one of the reasons might be because they're using a lot of shadowcast lights. And frankly, they're probably using them in a situation where you really don't need that many shadowcast lights. You can just use some regular ambient lighting to help the game's performance. So what a shadowcast light can be used for is to highlight like a centerpiece. So when you're in a particular room, you probably only need 1, maybe 2 shadowcasting lights. And then you place this light in a position where it's going to create the most dramatic effect. Like a good use of a shadowcast light would be you go into like a throne room or something, or you have like a pedestal, and you put up the shadow light behind that pedestal, so that like the shadow of the pedestal kind of looms down over the room, you know, and creates a little dramatic effect with the shadow. That's a good use of a shadow light. And it also keeps it to like just that one shadow light, where you can use regular non-shadow casting lights for other stuff, to make sure that the game's performance stays high. For this cave, I decided I want to have it kind of dark, and then the player loads in, and he sees this one campfire light. So this shadowcast light is the only one light we have over here. So that should have pretty much no impact on performance whatsoever. Additionally, I can change the size of the light by holding down S and then kind of moving my mouse up and down. I can make the light really huge. I can make it really tiny. I'm going to undo that because oops. Uh-oh. I guess I can't undo the resizing. That's alright. That looks fine. Should look fine, yeah. Anyways. I have another light over here in the Dwemer part. So the player is going to kind of... he goes over here. When he reaches his campfire, he's going to see another light source coming from over here. Let's click on an object there. There we go. And this is the beginning of the Dwemer ruin. But if we go up here, I have like a little chandelier hanging down here. And then I have another light right here. And this is a non-shadow casting light. Essentially, same thing. It's just easier on performance and frame rate. And again, I can hold down S to kind of adjust the size and brightness of it.